This game is hard. It's not designed to be hard, but rather it's you being shit at the game that will make it difficult. So if you're willing to take a gander at the Severed Steel's salty spittoon, let's see what makes it fun to play. Given the skill issue for the general population, including myself, I recommend the Severed Steel difficulty and only move up if you want to pain or if you actually got good at the game. During my time, I've developed a couple of techniques that I would like to share with you that could help you progress through the game. The first one I like to call the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs method. It's where you go absolutely batshit insane like a crackhead who hasn't had their sugary fix in a while, jumping across wall to wall, sliding, just doing every chaotic motion that you can to avoid every single bullet. You're going to feel like Neo doing limbo with bullets, but in real time. Now that technique is for the more basic users. For the intermediate level, I have the technique that I like to call tricks. It's where you hop and slide around in a more controlled manner, so you actually look like you know what you're doing, but you're still moving around in a frantic motion. You'll have better control over your movement and possibly better aim than the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs method, but you can still get disoriented and hop yourself into a corner and just start bouncing against the wall and not really be sure where you are anymore. Lastly, I have the master technique that only the pros with hundreds of hours in this game know. This is the only technique that works at the highest difficulty level. All of the others are just too subpar to even consider. It is what I like to call the Lucky Charms method. You just hope that you don't get shot. Now that you know my secret techniques, I have some general tips that everybody can use. Never stop moving and keep doing tricks like you're Tony Hawk. Those tricks include wall running, sliding, or doing a jump and sliding in mid-air. While you're doing any of those, you're invulnerable to damage, so just keep doing that. It's quite useful. You know that you're safe if you have the anime speed lines on your screen. Fans can also make you God Incarnate until you need more ammo, and also use the slow motion liberally. It'll help you line up your shots while you're moving all over the place, and it also helps set up some cool action scenes. On very rare times where it's so action-packed, there can be an instance where you phase through the ceiling, which happened to me only once, and I've never seen it happen again. So just be aware that the action can defy the laws of physics. And it can get disorienting at times, especially if you don't know what you're doing, just jumping wall to wall and sliding everywhere. As a consequence, you can get stuck on the geometry, but you can bust yourself out due to the destructible environment. The destruction looks nice, where you can tell that the room is going to need some glory hole repair. The enemies that you face will come in a variety such as the soldiers from Fear, soldiers with a shield, an armored soldier, soldiers with a jetpack, and much more such as the tanky flamethrower soldier. They all die the same anyway. The enemies do shout out things to their friends like in Fear, but not in the same detail. Speaking of Fear, Severed Steel reminds me of it, and a lesser known title called Acid Spy, where the enemies in combat comes from Fear, while the level design and movement comes from Acid Spy. It makes for a great combination, but there is one combo that I feel doesn't really mesh well with the game. It's the soundtrack and the combat. I don't like the music. It's not bad or poorly made, it's just not a style that I would like in an action game. And I would prefer something more heavier when I'm bouncing off the walls and shooting at soldiers. just sounds like a lo-fi beats to me. Luckily, the game has many settings to choose from to customize your experience, so you can always just turn off the music. The sounds, however, are well done where the guns feel impactful, which matches the environment destruction. Along with the enemies yelling out to each other, it creates a beautiful, chaotic symphony. That symphony goes across a variety of different levels, visual styles, and objectives, so the game always feels fresh. The weapons don't have that same sentiment though, because they all feel the same as you're just picking up whatever you can get due to the hectic nature of the game and the low ammo count. There are some outliers like the grenade launcher and flamethrower that add something different in the gameplay and how you can play with the environment destruction, like crumbling the floor beneath an enemy or destroying the walls around you to create a more open space. You also have the cannon that is used to destroy walls for shortcuts or quick getaways or to stun a group of enemies. You may not see it at first because your eyes are pumped with adrenaline trying to focus on sweet moves to pull off, but this game is cool to watch with bullets flying everywhere, slow motion, and fast-paced action. The playgrounds for that action are good, but it shines in the ones that are not too open and not too enclosed. So pretty much any area where wall running is more prevalent, or else you're going to limit yourself to bunny hopping and slip and sliding. But this is coming from someone that is not too good at the game, so maybe there are better strategies that a pro would know. Now for the story, I don't really know what happened. It's given to you through the cutscenes that kind of remind me of like the Max Payne cutscenes, but not as like a comic book, just more like black and white, still images. And in my defense, the story seems more like a means to an end for you to do more action stuff. From what I can recall, it's mainly just you going through a sequence of different areas to kill a guy. There's not really much else to say or to add on. I'm sure that there is more, but in my opinion, I'm taking this game as more like porn where we're just here for the action and not the story. And just like porn, I'm not good at the game, but I still enjoyed it. And depending on how good you are, you can beat the game within 3 to 4 hours. There is a Firefight Mode where you can replay maps and use and unlock any weapon, and there's also gameplay modifiers that you can add in to make like giant heads or make the game more difficult. Also, there are 2 challenges per level to unlock extra stuff. The modifiers do freshen up the gameplay by making it more like your own playground, but you're still going to be doing the same thing more or less. If roguelikes are more your style, there is Rogue Steel with the same premise as Firefight, except you select a random modifier after each level where the detrimental ones give you a higher score multiplier, and each level is randomly chosen too. You can also unlock skins and a record of the modifiers that you've collected so far. Both modes give you more to do, with Rogue Steel being the better option, but don't expect an entirely new experience. It still feels very similar to the campaign, so if you got burnt out after beating the game, then the new modes won't offer any solace. That's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching. See ya.
That's why I...